Hi, and welcome to Tanesha's Tips.
Tanesha's Tips.
Happy New Year. I know it's been a minute since I've actually come on here and given you a video, but I am trying to start off the new year doing the right thing. And I also want to let you know that I am in a different spot because it is cold outside. I'm not going to be on here long. I just want to say that I do plan on doing all my book, movie, and TV reviews that I planned to do last year that did not happen, but I want to make sure that it is done and you'll get those videos. I am in a whole different setup because it's cold outside and I did not want to be freezing while I'm making this video. But as I said, I read 160 books, and I just want to hit on a couple of books that were like the highlight of 2024. Some were, I guess, well known only because it was basically said on TikTok, but others were like, oh, I found those kind of because they were in my TBR anyway, or I had purchased the books. So I'm just going to give you a couple of those books. And I must say, I'm going to give you the ones that I felt are good, and then I'll follow up with the ones I thought was just okay. Okay, so I would say the first book that I actually read that I thought, oh, this is such a good book was This Could Be Us, which is the second book in the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. I read the first book before I let go, and it really didn't have a big impact on me. And a lot of people were like, oh, I fell in love with that book and this and that, but I'm sorry, it didn't resonate with me. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm over it. Really, like, okay. But I am ready for the third book that comes out this year, and I think it's May of this year. So that's going to be a good one. I enjoyed Brooklyn, and I'm looking forward to reading another Tracy Brown book. I think Hold You Down is going to be, I think, February, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm trying to get up my months of what I want to read in each month, but that's going to be one. Let me think. What's another one? In Every Mirror, She's Black. That was a very good book, and it basically told about the Black experience in Sweden. And I think it resonates because it's not just here in the United States where Black women see a difference in how they're treated. They're actually treated differently overseas as well. So that's a good book. And then there's a follow-up to that book as well that I have to read at some point this year. So that's on my radar. All I've Ever Wanted, All I've Ever Needed by A.E. Valdez. Now, that was a great book. And there are some other books in the series that I'm going to get to as well, because I have those on my shelf just waiting for it. But that was a very good book. I read Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. That was a very good book. If you just want like a good romance that had like all the spice, but it had a little, kind of secrecy type thing, but it was like on a trip. It was good, and it was a little messy, but it was good. It wasn't messy, but it was really good. It was a good little mess, I should say. Now, the series that took off on TikTok is Product of the Streets, and that is by E. Bowser. That whole series was a whole mess, and I think books 1 through 4 were I like those the best. When I got to book 5 and 6, it was kind of going downhill for me, and I was just kind of like, okay, I'm over them. But that's a good series to get into, and I promise you will look at fruit in a different way. That's all I'm gonna say. Let us see. In the Gray by B.B. Reed. I just saw so many people talking about this book, and I could not figure out why. But when I started reading the book, I went in blind, and I often like to do that because I don't want to have any preconceived notions as to what this book is about. But when I tell you it is juicy and it has you rooting for the people, and I'm not going to tell you what happened. It's just one of those books where it's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? Or are they not? And when I say that, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you read the book, you'll understand why I say are they or are they not. Let's see. Rhythms Blues by Kimberly Brown. That was such a good book. Good romance novel. It was good. You should read that. Also, I read several books from, looking at a girl on TikTok. She recommended it. And St. Ave, that was one of the books that she recommended. And which ended up being like one of my favorites. Love Letters from a Gangster. That was one of my favorites for the year. And that's by Siobhan Latrice. That one is a series, but I only read that one. Because I was like, you know what? From reading that one, the lady in the book had several kids. And I was like, I don't want to go through the whole thing. That's just not what I want to do in my life. So, there's also one called Saint, and it's by Lakia. That was a great book as well. Lemon Pepper by Nina. Enjoyed that. Now, I have a series that I need to complete, and it's only 2 so far, but it's a Why Choose, and that was my first Why Choose trope. And it's called The Oath, and that's by T.M. Richardson, but that was a really good book. And for some reason, I kept that at the end of the month. The end of September, I just rushed and read it, but it was so good. I was like, why did it take me so long to just pick this book back up? But oftentimes I'm either listening to a book, and I'm always reading on my Kindle. So the physical book that I have in hand is like the last one that I actually pick up to read. And I'm going to try to get better with that in the new year, because I have so many books, as you can see behind me. Another book that was good is called Fast, and that's by Millie Bilazar. That is a book, but when I tell you there are so many trigger warnings, and I will put these books up so you can see. I finished a series, and it's the summer series. Kingston and August was the last 2 books in that series, and it's by M. Monique. So that was a great book, or a great series, I should say. Just to give you a few. Another book that I read that had a good impression on me is called Business Casual, and that's by Danielle Allen. That's a really spicy book, and it's an office romance book, and it's really good. And the last series that I read that was really good is called The Good Girl, and it's by Tracy Reed. And obviously it's 1 through 6. So if you read that one, it's actually pretty good series. Got me kind of looking at her books to say, oh, okay, these are pretty good. I also will say that one more author that I actually got into this year is Aubrey Penn, and her books have been really, really good. I've read several of them, and I want to say the last one from her that I read was called Say the Word, and it's a Wax mini. That was like a novella, but she has other ones that are prequels to that, so you might want to check that one out. Now, in my opinion, the ones that weren't so great, and I'm only going to probably name like 2 or 3 that I read throughout the year that I just really didn't like. And one being this December that I just was like, oh my God, I thought this was going to be such a good book. That really let me down. It's called We Used to Live Here. That's by Marcus Kuhler. That book wore me out, and I should have DNF'd it, but I didn't, because I was just like, okay, push through, through. And because I had the physical book and I bought it, and it was a hardback book, I was like, no, you paid the money, go ahead and read this book. Oh my goodness. I thought, I am going to fall over and die if I keep reading this book, but I got through it. I don't know how, but I did. Let me think. What's another one? Oh, Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I just think that another hardback book that I had, and that was by Farida. I can't say her name. I'll put it up here. But that, it was okay, but it drug on too, and it just got dry for me. And I'm like, just get to the point. What happened? Who did it? Let me know. That was another one that I could have just been like, you know what? I ain't had to read that one. And I said it like that. I didn't have to read that one. That was like, leave me alone. I want to say Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. Usually she has a winner, but she let me down this time, and I just couldn't get with it. I was just like, oh man, I just thought this was gonna be so good, and it just it womp at the end. The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. I think I said this and I beat this horse, and now I'm reviving it to beat it again. But that book it just was so awful. It took so long to get to the point, and it didn't have to be that way. I mean, to me, 6 chapters, she could have been said and done. But that's just me. But yeah, so that is my 2024 wrap up of what I thought was good reads for, the year, and what I thought wasn't quite so good. This year, my goal is to read 150 books. My goal in 2024 was 75, and I went to 160. So I figured, let me go ahead, at least double what I said before, and we're going to see what we can do. Yeah. But again, I thank you guys for joining me and listening to my whole spiel and how I see 2025 going. And what I'll do is we'll just modify if we need to as we go. But again, thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye.
And plus she do shows. She cover all like hands, knees, and toes. Don't lollygag, no, she just rolls. Then it's on to the next one, on to a fresh one. Ha. Said it's on to the next one, on to a fresh one. Tanesha's tip, coming all 3 speakers. Good honest reviews, book shows, and the movies all getting featured.